is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that it's a banana. They might scream banana, banana, banana over and over and over again. They might put banana in all caps. You might even start to believe that this is a banana. But it's not. This is an apple.
Bear with me. A post I put on Facebook in November the 17th, 2015, I want to read, and then I'm going to go into what I'm talking about. November the 17th, 2015, at 2:52 p.m. I've been focusing on ISIS recently a lot, but something else keeps popping up in my head about this election coming up. I hear all of the talk about how crazy and out there that Trump is, and I remember Ronald Reagan also being said to be unelectable. If he ran against someone other than the most failed president I've ever been alive to see, President Jimmy Carter, in case you can't remember. So, look at both the Republicans and Democratic candidates and tell me if you believe any of them have any chance of energizing the base. I don't see one. Hillary might be the closest, but after President Obama, are we really likely to be willing to try the first woman president? I'm not belittling her as a woman, I'm just asking, with the last 7 years under the first black president, do you think we're likely to go down the same route? One thing that helped Obama win was the last president was Bush 43. Hillary doesn't have that. However, Trump, on the other hand, does. That scares me very much, probably as much as Reagan scared those in the 80s. I pray if this happens, Trump will at least be as good as Reagan. But the best alternative is to run a viable candidate. And that I haven't seen yet. Think about that before you assume Trump is just too crazy to get elected.
You are looking at perhaps the most endangered species of yard sign.
4 signs I had up with Donald Trump were missing.
They tend to be drive-bys. Someone makes a beeline for the Trump sign, grabs it, then jumps in a getaway car. And check out this dainty thief. The most recent theft involved a runner in Hillsdale, New Jersey. She jogged past the house, waited for a car to leave, then came back, picked up the sign, and took off. When the video went public, she turned herself in. The sign owner declined to press charges. Meanwhile, the neighbor's Trump sign was plucked by a masked woman. It could be worse.
Respect my opinion to vote for who I want to.
This artist created a giant T for a yard in Staten Island. In the middle of the night, someone set it on fire. But Donald himself called to commiserate. What's an artist to do? Rebuild.
It's going to be huge!
This house in Indianapolis lost a dozen Trump signs in 3 weeks. We found very few Hillary signs reported stolen. Either her supporters aren't posting them or they're being left alone. In Haverhill, Massachusetts, one of Richard Early's signs was spray-painted "Never" over Trump. He had 9 signs ripped out and tossed in the street.
We're not going to take them down. The signs are staying up.
Some bipartisan tips for protecting your yard signs. A Pennsylvania man slathers roofing tar on the edges. Hard to get off and easy to spread to clothing and car. Another person went and bought a giant jar of Vicks Vapor Rub and smeared it over every inch of the sign. When Hillary for Prison signs disappeared out in the Hamptons, the owner reinstalled them on 12-foot poles with surveillance cameras and electric fencing. It may not be easy to steal an election, but an election sign? Ginny Mo's CNN, New York. Smiling Michael Mercado
Don't smile now.
was in no mood to smile when thieves kept stealing his Donald Trump lawn signs.
They're trying to shut me up.
But rather than shut up, Michael put up a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the thieves.
I'm choosing Trump, and stay the hell off my lawn and let me express my opinion.
This Florida real estate investor also didn't appreciate the F Trump graffiti on the nearest mailbox outside his Queens, New York home. He put up about 100 reward signs featuring a suspect's photo captured by surveillance cameras. The presidential campaign has kept cameras busy recording people stealing Trump signs, usually jumping out of a car, grabbing signs, and jumping back in. Though Jeff Weiss of West Hartford, Connecticut, caught 2 teens red-handed in his driveway.
Stealing my Donald Trump signs.
Yeah, we are.
I know.
Yeah.
Why would you do such a thing?
Because we just don't agree with your political views.
Is that the right thing to do?
Well, we're teenagers, so I think we have a little bit of leeway in that.
Do you?
Yeah.
I chose not to press charges.
But others chose a reward. Linda Torelli says she couldn't get over it when someone defaced 3 of her Trump signs in New City, New York. She replaced them, then put up a $1,000 reward.
My message to the vandals is this: not my neighborhood, guys, and you're not going to intimidate me or bully me. Okay, I'm still going to vote for my candidate, and I wish you would respect that.
And every time they take a sign, the next one gets bigger and better. I guess pretty soon the whole house will be a Trump sign.
Try stealing that, you pranksters. Or are they liberals?
Could be a liberal prankster. I don't know who it is.
Ginny Mo, CNN.
Now smile.
New York. Trump signs aren't just being stolen. This one went up in flames, torched by a guy in his underwear in Platteville, Wisconsin. The sign's owners were burned up, especially when they recognized Mr. Underwear.
Oh, I think that's our neighbor, our tenant.
Now, ex-tenant. So many Trump signs are being swiped that yard sign defense techniques are being deployed. Like using bike chain lubricant to make them slippery and messy, or worse yet, try dog poop, or replace your signs with something they can't steal.
I'm going to keep cutting it like this till Trump's elected.
An Indianapolis man used fishing wire and strings spray painted green to fasten down his Trump sign.
She loses her footing and lost her grip, and she went flying.
When one sign stealer gave up, the owner followed it.
Shoves me with both hands, knocks me down.
Another owner electrified his sign to zap a would-be thief. You hear less about Hillary signs being swiped, and this Florida woman has to bring her signs in at night, and this woman had someone come up to her door.
Why are you voting for that? And she pointed to my sign. And I was totally appalled.
Talk about a game of cat and mouse. Imagine using a mouse trap to protect your Trump sign. New Hampshire State Representative Gary Hopper calls sign stealers
The liberal commie scum.
and demonstrates with a disclaimer.
But I want to tell you something you shouldn't do.
Don't hook a 6-volt battery up to a mouse trap and then to firecrackers so when someone moves the sign. But even worse than stealing signs, who would have absconded with a cardboard cutout of the Donald? Cut it out, people. This is shocking. Ginny Mo, CNN.
I did not understand why I was angry at the media all year. However, I was. But when Hillary Clinton insisted fake news, and I, like a sane, logical person of free will, started to analyze, was it possible I fell for propaganda? I was careful all year not to listen to sites like InfoWars, but to be fair, it was possible, so I looked at it. It took a while. At first, I remembered my feelings in November 2015, the Facebook post that I read earlier, and then next I considered the polls, the ones released on all networks and papers. Then I realized it wasn't the facts that were fake, but the commentary. Sometimes, while poll numbers were still on the screen, commentary was Trump couldn't win. Yet the polls almost always showed a close election. I know Trump shouldn't be electable, but what was insane was how manic Washington and media got over a man they swore couldn't win. Understand, before 2008, media decided to limit the footage of 9/11, worried it might trigger citizens' anger. Then we had over-insistence on not using words like war and radical Islam. That raised concern I was being manipulated and talked down to. That's how I felt. What it said to me was they feared American citizens getting upset far more, as if we were mental patients and so could be ignored or just looked at and passed off. Even more than ISIS, enough they would compromise their own integrity? After Trump won, I thought media would face reality. Instead, they arrogantly double down. Their anger is at Trump, but they miss the point that insisting on collusion, you're further offending the voters that for years you ignored, then insisted we were stupid or hateful. I voted for Trump mostly because usually during an election cycle, politicians pretend to listen. Even media pays lip service, yet Trump triggered them so badly they couldn't consider their own behavior might worry voters more, and they clearly were pushing for Hillary, someone I already distrusted. After 8 years of neglect, frustration, all of them showed signs of life against a man who they swore daily couldn't get elected. I'm only one person, Midwest, clearly no college degree. Feel free to dismiss all I can say is, I thought since November 2015 he could win. It's a very good possibility, really. Only just before the Democratic convention did I decide I would vote for Trump. Why? I've said many times, the tarmac meet with DOJ, Lynch, and Bill Clinton reminded me of the seedy behavior of the Clintons in the 1990s. I wasn't being asked to throw her in jail, only if I believed she deserved a promotion. After 3 decades, she still didn't understand how to avoid appearance of impropriety. That was the point, the reason I stopped. Nothing else would change my vote. Hillary would win, but not with my vote or silence. Maybe sexist, maybe racist, but I had reasons, and I don't believe I was wrong. I fully understand Trump's flaws, understood we need media to keep him in line. That's why all year I've wanted them to repair their damaged integrity. Instead, they trashed it daily, reporting unnamed sources, forgetting we need to be able to trust the media and the reporter's judgment to know that they believe and they can trust these people. Yet they never lost their dislike. It turned into derangement. They seemed unable to realize they so damaged themselves that they seem at least as trustworthy as Trump. He is not qualified. I don't deny that. But we are left with no one to trust in Washington, and I do not believe media will face this anytime soon. 2016 didn't have to happen. By all rights, before Super Tuesday, Trump should have been gone. He was his own worst enemy. But luckily for him, the media in Washington's narcissistic attitude made his win much easier. And the insanity continues because they must have a reason other than they're at fault. So they are trying to push the collusion theory. But it insults the voters, and they don't seem to care.